side. Boston going to work. Scores off the backboard. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull. Left wing. Fires a three. Good! Hull heads with .3 to go in the third.
All right, Danielle, here we are with another edition of the W Hoops podcast, but we've been away for a while. I think we only got one podcast in November, even as college basketball season was kicking off, partially because I was traveling in Australia and then we had Thanksgiving holidays. And so it was just a busy month. But yeah, things are ramping up and you've got your UConn background and the Huskies are off to a great start this year.
Yeah, they are. They're just so deep. Even with they have Ice Brady. I saw the Ice and Morgan Shelley are going to be out for at least 2 more weeks. But even with those injuries, they're just so deep. And they look really good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed. I mean, they've got shooters all over the place. Obviously, they have AZ, who's the best shooter in women's college basketball. Sarah Strong can shoot. Um, Ashlyn Shade can shoot.
Hmm.
Um, then you got Blanca Quinones coming in.
Zybel.
Zybel. I mean, they're loaded with shooters.
Yeah.
And I mean, arguably, the best player in the country. I think, Sarah Strong is the best player in the country. And you are arguably the second best player in the country in AZ right now.
hmm Yeah, it's hard to argue against AZ at two, especially because like she's playing defense so well. Yeah, she's just impactful on that end as well. So
I
really
think
good.
she's shooting like 50, 50, 90. I haven't checked the recent stats. She
Might
had
have
an
been
off
right.
shooting night
Mhm.
the last game. She was 0 for 5 from three or something, but she was through their first.
She's 49, 51, 100. Well, no, that must be, what is that? Surely she's not shooting 100% from the line, is she?
She
That's what
might
it
be.
says. That's
Yeah,
what
she
it
might
says.
be. So, yeah, I mean, I think she was like 50 something,
Yeah.
55, 100.
It dropped
It
because
dropped.
that last game was a little low. But yeah, so she's at basically 50, 50, 100.
Yeah. So, I mean, clear the
And
best
on
shooter in the
high
country.
attempts, like I think she's shooting 7 threes a game. It's not as if, 2 or 3 attempts a game, averaging 18.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2 steals, and under 2 turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, she's shooting great this season. Hopefully, as long as she stays healthy, she's at minimum a top five player in the country,
Yeah.
right?
And what
And
do you think? What do you think Sarah's shooting?
Sarah's got to be shooting 50, 40, 80, I would think,
So you think she's shooting 40? She's been
from
shooting a
three.
little, yeah, no, she's been a little cold from three. She's shooting
Uh,
56, 32, 90.
okay. It's only 32. All right.
Yeah. But guess what Blanca's shooting from three?
Blanca's probably shooting 45% from three.
62 and a half.
62 and a half. Oh
Yeah.
my.
And no, I don't know how many attempts. Let me see if I can see how many attempts that is, but it's probably a few a game. It's not seven, obviously, but she's not afraid to put it up there for sure. Just 2.7 attempts per game, but that's
Well,
really good.
yeah. I mean, that's amazing. She has no fear and no
No,
conscience. She
no.
will drive on anybody. She will shoot at any time, and that's good. I mean, she's a good shooter, clearly. So you
Yeah.
want players to have confidence in their shots. She plays a little out of control.
Mhm.
We've talked about Blanca. It's just because of her size. She's close in size to Sarah, and
Mhm.
she handles the ball well. She can shoot.
Yeah.
She's a good passer. I think she's a little below Sarah in most categories, skill wise, but also just court awareness. And, you know, I mean, Sarah's just preternaturally amazing in every aspect of the game, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, she's
um,
averaging over 3 steals per game, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover, 5 assists. I think she's leading the team in assists, 9.4 rebounds, 17.6 points.
Yeah, I mean, she can do everything on the court, and she just looks smooth. She's under control. She's never forcing anything. The best hands in college basketball. Well, maybe Hidalgo's got great hands. She gets her hands defensively on a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
but I mean, just rebounding and steals. When
Mhm.
you look at
And
what she can
passing.
do and passing, I mean, she's the most complete and best player in college basketball. But Blanca has really impressed me with her game. I mean,
Yeah.
they got three significant newcomers this year in
Mhm.
Blanca and Heckel and Williams. And Williams has been the one starting out of the three, and I would say I've been, well, I don't know if it's fair to say it this way. I think she's struggled the most out of the three to make an impact. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the way to say it.
Yeah. But she kind of is getting the Jana treatment from last year where she starts and then starts the first and the second half, but doesn't play much else. And Gino goes to his four guard lineups.
Yeah,
So it's kind of just a bit of a product of being a big in UConn sometimes. If Gino
yeah.
has the guards, he wants to play guards.
It seems that way. I mean, the good thing about this year is that because Blanca and Sarah Strong can both handle the ball so well, I think he seems comfortable with them as a small lineup. But when you have
Yeah.
both of them in, I mean, they're still a decent sized team.
Yeah.
Because AZ's not super tall. She's a good size for a guard, but she's strong and she plays like a
Mhm.
strong guard. And Ashlyn crashes the boards really well for a guard. For her size, she's always getting her nose in there, getting just really has a great sense of where the ball's coming off on rebounds. On the offensive end in particular, she just crashes the boards, and
Mhm.
so she makes up some for having a small lineup by how active and aggressive she is.
Yeah. And
Um,
she
s-
hasn't shot well she's only at 32% also from three to start the season, but you feel like that's gonna climb as the season goes on. So UConn is undefeated with Sarah and Ashlyn only shooting 32% from three, and they're both capable of being 40 plus percent shooters.
yeah, and with Sarah Williams not yet, getting in a groove. I mean, clearly the talent's there to be a 20 point a game scorer and then first team All Big Ten defensive player. So. I mean, they're just loaded. And Heckle, I've been impressed with her. I liked her last year on USC. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think she brings a good replacement for KK. And, sometimes he plays both of them together. I'd rather he not do that. I'd rather see him rotating, Zybel in for AZ and Ashland and have kind of a three guard rotation at the two. I'd like
Yeah,
to see KK and Heckle maybe not playing at the same time. I don't think that's a great fit.
Yeah, I am actually surprised that Heckle is only shooting 44% from the field because it feels like she has such a good touch around the basket and makes everything.
Yeah.
Um, but I've been impressed with Zybel. She's just looked good. We were surprised by how much she had played last year. They mentioned it, I think, in one of the broadcasts, but it felt like she didn't really get going and dealt with some injuries last year.
Yeah.
And but this year I feel like she's looked good and she didn't shoot great to start, but she's already back up. She's at 50, 43, 60. She's only shooting 62 from the line, but that should go up. But 50 from the floor, 43 from three. So they easily have between AZ, Sarah, Blanca, Ashlyn, and Zybel, they have five players that could shoot 40 plus from three.
Yeah. And then they have Heckle and KK to pressure
Hmm.
teams, and both of them just are scrappy and get after
Hmm.
people. And they also, is it Kellis,
Yeah,
the
Fisher.
freshman point guard? Yeah, I really like her. It's
I
kind
like
of,
her.
I'd like to see her get more playing time. Like sometimes I've seen KK, I feel like she looks tired, and Gino just keeps playing her. And I mean, she's just playing at 110%, when she's out there. She's giving her all, and I wouldn't mind seeing her get a little more rest so she can play. Like I think
Hmm.
28 minutes of her or 25 minutes of her going all out and, get Fisher some minutes in there. I'd really like to see her.
Yeah, I like Fisher. I think she looks like she has a lot of potential. She's a little short also, but I think she's going to be buried behind KK and Kaylee Heckold this year. But um, yeah, she looks good.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, UConn looking great, looking like
And the other thing about the three-point shooting is not only do they have five players who can shoot 40% from three, but I think any of those could hit five threes in a game easily,
Right.
um, or
Yeah.
more. So, yeah, and that can
Yeah.
really just end a game, put it away.
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen AZ do that. And their defense has been really tough too.
Mhm.
But one observation I wanted to talk with you about, and it really stood out in the Michigan game, but there's been multiple games where they just come out on fire, looking unstoppable, like they're going to score 150 points in the first quarter of a game. And then it feels, I don't know if it's they're tired, if it's just, things fall back to the mean with them or what it is. But yeah, I looked through their box scores a little bit, and against Louisville, they outscored Louisville 25-9 in the first quarter. And then Louisville outscored them the rest of the game in the remaining
Mhm.
three quarters. Against Michigan, they were up 22-5
Yeah.
after the first quarter, and then they almost lost the game, and I think they only scored 4 points in the third quarter. Um,
Oof.
Against Utah, they scored 32 points in the first quarter and only ended up with 93. I mean, 93 is a lot, but when you score 32 in the first quarter, it means you only scored 61, which isn't a bad pace, but against South Florida is 90 or 29 points in the first quarter, then only 85 points for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think that's anything concerning? What are your thoughts about that observation?
I mean, to some, like, Gino actually has been pretty good this year about not playing the Stars in the fourth quarter when they're up big. That wasn't the case in Michigan, obviously. But, like, for some of those games, it's been AZ and Sarah on the bench the whole fourth quarter. So, like, if, there's probably a couple of those games where it's more a product of who's on the floor. But against Michigan, it was like the pace just slowed down and they just weren't making shots. Both teams in the first quarter that they were on the left side of the court only scored 4 or 5 points, which is crazy.
Hmm.
So I wonder if there was something with the rim and it took like a quarter to adjust on that side because it was crazy that Michigan was ranked number six and came in and only scored 5 points in the first quarter. Um,
And then in the
but
third
then,
quarter, UConn only scored four
mhm,
points. Yeah,
yeah.
on that rim. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that could be. But yeah,
But yeah,
I just noted
that's
that,
yeah,
it seems like sometimes I've seen KK in some of those games start looking tired and
yeah,
just feel like maybe she only needs to play 22 minutes a game even. I mean, you got
yeah,
Heckle, you got Fisher.
yeah.
You don't need KK. I think, yeah. Anyway, I just observed it. And, the only game that was really a concern was Michigan. They haven't had any other close games, but
Right.
just a little disconcerting that they almost lost that game to Michigan after getting off to that start. And just the observation is that they come out guns blazing, just like shooting great, intense on defense in the first quarter. Then it just feels like there's a little bit of, a lower level intensity is a pattern I've seen anyway. So hopefully that'll change. They've got the depth, people can
Mhm.
go hard but still two of the best players. They're still playing great team basketball, shooting great, it's just fun. A fun team to watch. They're
Mhm.
playing hard on defense. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat them this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a couple, they're gonna start being mostly in conference play, but they have a few good ranked matchups coming up still, even with that. Like they play USC next Saturday. They play Iowa, who's ranked 12 now. The Big Ten is loaded. Yeah. IU women are gonna have a bit of a tough road. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so that's maybe our segue to move to our other favorite team in women's college basketball. Our beloved Hoosiers are looking like, when they play lesser teams, they look good. And, when they're playing against better teams, they're going to struggle some. But I mean, they did okay against Iowa State. I mean,
Yeah.
they kept it was competitive, but
Yeah, and especially you think with like Big Z was out that game, right?
right, right.
So, yeah, what's her name?
Crooks.
Crooks, Audie Crooks is just a load.
Yeah.
Scored 47 or 48 points in that game, and Shea tried to
Yeah.
keep up and got almost got 40, but it wasn't quite enough. But Yeah, 11-point loss to the number 10 team in the country is not bad, certainly.
No.
But then to lose pretty badly to Illinois, who's not even ranked today, is not great. Especially because there's going to be so many tough conference games. You
Yeah.
have to beat Illinois. You can't, yeah, you just can't let that up because you got Michigan State is ranked 20 right now, Maryland 7, Iowa 12, Washington 21, Ohio State 23, Michigan 6, UCLA 4, USC 16.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
that's,
loaded. The Big Ten's loaded on the
yeah,
women's side. And, IU, I mean, there's some good storylines. The Illinois loss, Big Z's still out. So
yeah,
I'm sure that affects, she's probably their second best player. But,
yeah. And we,
right, I should say, one of the fun storylines is that Shea's having a great senior season.
Yeah, she can just pretty much get any shot she wants, it feels like, and has a nice little jumper. She is obviously great from three, can get to the rim, and yeah, I think she's averaging like 20 something. Let's see, what is it? 24.4 points per game, shooting
Yeah.
56, 45, 92. So,
Yeah. Oh no, she's
and
been a
she's
highlight to the season. She's been playing
Yeah.
great on the
And
offensive end.
she's at the top of the scouting report. Like anyone
Right.
else, if you're scouting IU, let anyone else score except for Shea. And
Yeah.
she's putting up that kind of efficiency as a guard is really impressive. And the other good news is that they've kind of found that third scorer that we talked about that they need in Beaumont. She's been aggressive in hunting her shot, and she's also shooting quite well. She's shooting 52, 41, 86 and 15 points per game. They've just been missing Big Z now. And so they
Yeah.
have the third, but not the second scorer now. So,
Yeah. I think their two problems are going to be just size.
yeah.
They're a small team. Coach Morin's been starting four guards essentially
Yeah.
around Big Z, and I think unless Maya Makaluski
Hmm.
really steps up and can play the four, yeah, they're just
Hmm.
going to struggle all year with their size. But if Beaumont and Shea can keep hitting threes at a good
Hmm.
rate, and if Big Z can get back and be healthy, they're gonna have three solid offensive players, and yeah, they'll be a tough out. Teams are gonna have to play well to beat them, but the Big Ten is loaded,
Yeah.
and if we were talking about it a little bit earlier, if they had Yarden back,
Yeah.
and I think, Lily Meister, I know she's not a great player, but she's good enough to start on this team and would just
Yeah.
bring size,
For sure.
that it would be a much different team with those two players. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
it would be a top 25 team, I think, with those
You would
two.
have Yarden starting instead of Kodletsova. So
Yeah.
Kodletsova can come off the bench and just play 10 minutes a game instead of having to try to,
Yeah.
be a scorer and a threat out there. You have Meister starting, and then, well, so what would it be? It would be
Well, I
Shea
think I would start Big Z, Shea, Beaumont, Yarden,
Yarden.
and Meister. You have Meister and
So you don't start a point guard, so Kathy comes off the bench and you
I
let
think
Shea handle the
so.
ball. Yeah, because Yarden can handle the ball too.
Yeah,
He's
Yarden
a
can
great
handle the
passer,
ball. Yeah.
fantastic passer.
Yeah, I mean, you have three good ball handlers in there. You don't have a traditional point guard in there at that point, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'd be a top 25 team if they had Yardman and
Yeah.
Meister still.
And they always, Terry Morin does a really good job defensively. Like their defense
Yeah,
is always better than the like individual parts.
yeah,
So that's really what they're going to have to rely on this year. They don't have the firepower. They're going to have to hold teams, I think, to 65 to win most games.
mm, yeah. Well, they got three good scorers. Big
Mhm.
Z's good around the basket. I haven't really seen much of her trying anything outside right at the rim.
Yeah.
Seems, but she's athletic and pretty quick,
Yeah.
and so. I think just the size and is going to be tough, and the Big Ten's just loaded this year,
Yeah.
like you pointed
But
out.
I like
So,
Makalaski. She looks good, and she was really impactful against Gonzaga, and was kind of in crunch time there. So
oh yeah,
it'll be fun to watch the team kind of grow, but it's not definitely not the year for them in the Big Ten.
no, it's not, but the future looks bright. They've got a
Mhm.
good recruiting class coming in. They've got some good young players, and I think they're going to be you know, on the upward trajectory. But yeah, this is going to be, if they finish 500 in the Big Ten, it'll be a great accomplishment for
Yeah.
this team, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's possible, but yeah, that would be a great accomplishment.
Yeah, yeah. So, if we kind of take a bigger picture to talk about what's going on in women's college hoops, recently, I would say the two teams that have, outside of UConn, that have been most impressive, I think, are Texas and LSU. It's a little
Yeah.
hard to say with LSU because they've got such a cupcake schedule.
Oh my goodness. I think they UConn might be the number one in net ranking now, but just like a week ago, LSU was the number one, and I think their toughest competition was ranked 148.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
they finally played, I think they played Duke the other
yeah.
night.
Which
And
is
so
Duke good? Duke is 3-6 now,
Duke is
so
not good this year. No, I mean, I don't know how they
they
were
lost a
ranked.
few in the transfer portal.
Mm.
But they had that one Fortier or whatever, that one little sophomore now, I think, who's
I
pretty
think
good.
Duke has played a tough schedule, but they're
Hmm.
losing to good teams. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just not, and not, I mean, I don't think it was competitive for maybe one third of the game against LSU. Then LSU pulled away. And I mean, it's just not, and they can't score. I mean, that's been the problem the whole
Yeah.
time these past few years with Duke is they're in slug. It's like 50-48, 57,
Hmm.
52. I mean, they're not a team that can
No.
keep up with,
Which,
if anybody's got offensive firepower, Duke's in deep trouble.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a little surprised when Kara Lawson was named the next USA head coach for
Right.
the 2020, but I guess the offense is never really going to be a problem with Team USA.
Yeah.
So maybe a defensive minded coach is not bad, but we'll see. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
France is coming for us though.
Yeah. So LSU, it's a little tough to, they've been impressive, but it's impressive against cream puffs. But Texas had some big wins.
Yeah, but I also just think with LSU, even just thinking how do you guard Flage and Full Wiley,
Yeah.
both of them, that's scary for most teams
Oh,
to have.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think LSU is good and
yeah,
they're a legit team. It's full Wiley. I always felt like Dawn Staley just, I don't know, didn't feel like she played a disciplined enough style. But
mhm,
man, she's so athletic and she just
yeah,
can change a game in a couple of minutes with her explosiveness. And sometimes players like that, you've just got to live with, even if there are negatives, there's a net positive, you
yeah.
know, and you just live with the negatives and realize that over the course of the season, it's going to be such a big net positive to have a player like that getting significant minutes. And Don Staley, I think, just got impatient with her and would yank her. And
Yeah.
what's the Johnson, who's the great shooter? Um,
Tessa?
Tessa, yeah. Like we've always liked her game, and I've
Mhm.
always been surprised at how few minutes she ends up getting, it feels like.
Mm.
And like I just don't understand Dawn's rotations sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously she's a great coach and accomplishes great things. So, you know, it's hard to criticize someone with that much success, but you know, I do just wonder sometimes why somebody like Tessa Johnson. I think Tessa Johnson's going to be a great WNBA player, and I think Phil Wiley is too. I mean, not
Hmm.
maybe not like a Caitlin Clark level, but a starter in the WNBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, for South Carolina, they lost to Texas. Close game, but
Yeah.
I do wonder if Texas is the best team in the SEC although LSU
Well,
also, so
the SEC is really loaded.
especially at the top.
The
But I mean,
top,
so
they're
is the
maybe
Big
top
Ten,
heavy. Yeah,
USC, or UCLA, Maryland,
Michigan and Maryland.
Michigan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
three Big Ten teams in the top 10.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think well, I haven't seen Maryland play yet, but Michigan is good, even though they had that one really bad quarter against UConn, and they have a really good sophomore class. And with Texas, they have been scoring quite a bit this year, but you feel like they're more of a defensive-minded team.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's how they've always been with Vic Schaefer there, and all
yeah,
his teams tend to be that way. But I mean, they had two big wins. I mean, they've got the two best wins of the year so far,
yeah.
clearly beating UCLA and South Carolina. So
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's good that UConn played Michigan when they did. Who knew that they were going to be ranked number six? But otherwise, it's kind of hard to argue that Texas doesn't have the better resume than UConn.
Mm,
But they got that win against a top 10 team as well. And just if you just look at them, they look amazing. So the
yeah.
voters still have them as number one in the rankings. You could argue that South Carolina was maybe ranked a little too high to start the season because they lost quite a bit, but they were in the championship game. So I
Yeah.
think you kind of let them be there until they prove that they don't belong there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. Um, then Notre Dame, I maybe
Yeah.
this one last point. I mean, like Michigan beat them by 30 something. Then they just lost the other night as well. I mean, they've been probably not as doing as well as people expected. And I thought they were overrated to start the season, considering what
Yeah,
they lost.
absolutely. Sonia Citron was majorly underrated at Notre
Yeah,
Dame, but then you lose her and Olivia Miles. Forget about
right.
it.
Yeah, I think, they were I think they were ranked in the top 10 or somewhere
Oh,
at the
yeah, maybe even
preseason.
five. Yeah.
And they were overrated. I mean, Hidalgo's quick and her hands are amazing. She can get steals and when she can get when she gets going and gets emotional,
Yeah.
she can really make an impact on the offensive end. But
Yeah.
she's not a great pure shooter. She's
No.
really can be inconsistent and
Yeah.
streaky and
But
I just don't
she tends to show up for big games
she
and she
does. She's
plays very well
clutch.
against UConn and UConn does have them on the schedule this year, so it'll be interesting to see how that game goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can rotate. Hopefully they can rotate KK and Heckle both
Yeah.
on her and
And even
but
Fisher if you
yeah.
need.
Yeah. So, I mean, think they'll be okay. I don't think they have anybody who can guard Sarah. So, yeah,
No.
but yeah,
Who
Notre
does?
Dame's, I would say that's been Notre Dame and Duke maybe have been the two teams that have really seemed to be ha seemed to have been overrated to start the season, shall
Hmm.
we say.
The other team, just to shout out another Big Ten team, is Iowa being ranked 12 post Caitlin Clark and post Lisa Bluter is quite impressive. That they've kind of been able to stay at the top after losing, a generational player and then like their longtime head coach and
Yeah,
it was an assistant who took over. So it wasn't like someone completely new. But that's pretty impressive. You would have thought that potentially there could have been a big drop off and they would kind of fall off the map. But Iowa does love their basketball.
they do. They really do. They've got great fan support there, and I think they've got a good recruiting class coming in. I think they've got a top 10 player or two top 10 players potentially. I
Yeah.
don't remember, but I think that they're going to be good, and seems like they've got the program rolling, and so yeah, the Big Ten on the women's side is really strong and looks like it's going to be strong for many years to come.
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe we can just spend a few minutes talking about the WNBA, since part of the play on words of our W Hoops podcast was about the W in the women's, but all in women's NBA, and so yeah, they still haven't come to an agreement, and it feels like even though what they have a second extension now
Hmm.
on the bargaining time, it feels like the sides are pretty far apart still.
Yeah. It and like the what the WNBA is proposing doesn't even make sense. It's like mathematically not coherent. Like I think one of the most recent things is they said, "Oh, we're going to there will be multiple players who can get $1 million salaries and the average will be 500,000 and the salary cap will be 5 million." And it's like, how does the math work there? You
Right,
can't have an average salary of $500,000 if the salary cap is 5 million. What are you
right. If you
cutting the
have
roster to?
12 players.
Yeah, are you cutting the roster to 10? Like what's happening here?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And they're talking about taking away player housing, which with such a short league, like it's what, 5 months? It really makes sense to provide the housing for the players, especially because they can get cut. And how are they going to sign? What are they going to do? Rent an Airbnb for 4 months, but then potentially get cut? And um, it's not like they're making millions of dollars, so that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And
No, I
then
agree. I was just gonna say, especially with the way the WNBA rosters tend to work, there's so much turnover through the year. We saw with the Fever this year, so many injuries, having to sign players to 10-day deals, and
Hmm.
then maybe rest of the season deals. But players, there's so much movement for these players who aren't making a lot of money. It's not, I mean, some of the players, they know they're going to be, Caitlin Clark knows she's going to be in Indy as long as she wants to be, so she can buy a house and stay in Indy, right? But if she wants, and
I think she
but
is based in Indy. Yeah, I think she is.
yeah, but I mean, there are a lot of players like that who know where they're going to be. But but that's I shouldn't say a lot. That's probably
No,
not the majority of players
20
who,
maybe.
yeah, maybe the star player or two on each franchise. But there's so many players who end up on 10-day contracts and multiple teams through the year, and they aren't making millions of dollars for those 10-day contracts. And some of
No.
the cities they're in, housing is very expensive.
Yeah,
And
New
I
York,
think, yeah, I mean, New
LA,
York, LA,
San Francisco.
Chicago, yeah, I mean, Dallas is expensive. I mean, it's just not great for them to take that benefit off. They're just hurting the players who are getting lower salaries and
Yeah, for sure. And another thing they're talking about is moving like training camp up to March, which competes with March Madness, which is like the biggest and most popular basketball event,
yeah.
of all time.
Yeah,
So that doesn't make sense. Do the rookies not play that year? Do they get drafted and then show up late and get integrated in? It doesn't make sense.
it just makes so little sense. I mean, I don't know how they can do this. In my opinion, I think I've mentioned this before. The WNBA needs to take a long, hard look at is summer basketball really the answer? I know that as a fledgling league, when they were having to use NBA arenas and work around NBA schedules, and they didn't have much choice. They had to kind of do the season from May to October, but they're trying to add games to bring in more revenue, and that starting in March, like the NBA season, the playoffs. I mean, maybe the regular season ends in April at some point, and then, but there are a lot of teams that make the playoffs now. Practically half the league makes the playoffs, so until June, you don't get down to two teams until June, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, as I look through these negotiations, some of those proposals they have, I just feel like the players need to hold out. I don't feel like they're getting, not that they need to be making $10 million a year
Yeah.
each, but the league popularity is huge. I mean, you got players coming in who fans are really interested in following. You got obviously Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese has a huge following. Paige Beckers. We went to a Dallas Wings game, and there were so many people in Paige jerseys at that
Yeah.
game already. As a rookie, she's already become the favorite Dallas Wings
Yeah.
player. And you've got Juju Watkins coming up, and I
Very
think Sarah
strong.
Strong and AZ's got a strong social media presence already,
Hmm.
and has a relationship with Steph Curry. I mean, she's going to be a popular and successful player, and they've got an opportunity to
Yeah.
really grow the business. And they need to take a longer term look at what, well, how should the league be structured best for success in the next 10 to 20 years, not just we've been doing the same thing, let's just
Hmm.
make changes around the fringes. Like this
Right.
is like an opportunity for a monumental shift
Yeah.
in how
It's
they
the
do business.
Well, I think when they started, it was probably more mainstream and popular. Like the first 5 to 10 years, maybe I think there was more momentum around it, but like it's back to being mainstream now. And you really have to capitalize on the moment and, uh, yeah, give the players a reasonable contract, give them reasonable share of the revenue share, let them make money on the jersey sales and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like they're just nitpicking on some little things.
Yeah.
And I mean, the big thing is, I mean, as far as we know from the outside, but it sounds like from what the players say, is they're just not being transparent with the
Hmm.
financials. And I mean, who knows how much money they're really winning or losing because
Yeah.
it's all messed up in the the income, because there's so many NBA owners who own WNBA
Mhm.
teams, or these close connections, the TV media rights deals are all
Mhm.
interconnected. So it's like there's no clear transparency on
No.
what is
But
really the income and revenue
right.
stream
But you
right
can
now.
look at it from the outside and see, okay, expansion teams are being sold for 250 million at a minimum.
Right.
And like 5 year, I think Vegas was bought for $2 million. Like whatever year they moved to Vegas, that was maybe 6 years ago or something. Then Golden State got in for 50 million, and then within 2 or 3 years, it's 5 times the value at least. Connecticut's trying to sell their franchise potentially and looking at $350 million offers that the league is trying to stop because they want it to go to NBA teams. But if NBA teams are paying $250 million and they're saying, oh, we can only have a $5 million salary cap, it doesn't make
Right.
sense.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, I think all of this shows that Nafisa was right when she says they have the worst leadership. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it just is bearing that out. And I think the problem the league faces and the players have as a something in their advantage is they've got, the unrivaled league. They've got this Project B. What is it called?
Yeah, it's just called Project B. It's not a great name,
Yeah.
but that's
It's
starting next year in theory.
But you've got
Hmm.
options for
Yes.
the players to say, hey, we can hold out because
Mhm.
we can play an unrivaled and make
Yeah.
some money, and we can still go overseas and make money. We got Project B coming up next year.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah, and
you
if they
know,
go, it sounds like Project B is talking about paying like $1 million minimum. So that's 4 times what they've been making in the W if they go play one season. For
yeah,
the max players, that's 4 times. For the most players, that's 10 times what they've been
right,
making.
right. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like the players have a lot of leverage because of
Mhm.
those leagues, and the WNBA just needs to realize, that, I mean, that's one aspect of negotiations is who has the leverage. And
Yeah.
I think the players have a lot more leverage right now than they would have
Yeah.
had historically, you
Yeah.
know. And so, yeah, I don't know. My thought has been January 9th. I don't see how they're going to, with the holidays coming
Yeah.
up. I mean, it's just a crazy time of the year, and I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, I mean, they're not playing games at the moment, but Unrivaled is going to be
Yeah, I think they
ramping
start in
up.
January. I think
Yeah, they
so.
start in January. I mean, they may
Yeah,
start before January 9th. Feel like I read
maybe.
it's they're going to be ramping up, and some of the
Yeah.
key players on the Players Association leadership are
Yeah.
going to be playing in Unrivaled, and
It's
so
very messy because also like some of the like NECA signed with Project B and she's like the president of the Players Association and then you have Nafisa and Stewie and they're unrivaled owners so it's
yeah.
all very interesting.
I mean, I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't know if messy is the right word. I know people have talked about it in the media some, but it's like it just gives the play. I think it gives the players leverage and
Yeah,
opportunity.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't think it's a at all. I've read some people or heard some people say, "Oh, it's a conflict of interest for
Hmm.
Nafisa to be on the Players Association committee and part of the unrivaled leadership ownership." But I feel like that's a healthy thing,
Sure.
that she can say, "Well, we have other options." When
Yeah.
in the middle of negotiations, she can say, "Well, I can make this much money playing in unrivaled. I can afford to sit out."
Yeah.
Can
And
you owners, the expansion owners probably want to start getting some return on their investment and not have the players hold out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know if Unrivaled has the infrastructure to do 5-on-5 like over the summer if um a W season doesn't happen, but
Mm,
maybe they do. I don't know. They've just done one location, and so that's very different. So I don't know if you would have to travel. I don't know what that would look like. But I feel like they have options certainly, and
yeah.
I think the fans are behind the players and are gonna support the players, whatever they do. So if the players find some weird way to do 5-on-5 unrivaled over the summer, fans are gonna show up and they're gonna buy the gear and whatever.
Yeah. I think so also. And I hope, that my preference would be that they could come to a good, amicable agreement that would be fair to the players. It would start giving them some of the things, you know, that they deserve, and just
Yeah.
some clarity around the real finances of the WNBA and revenue sharing and the share in merchandise sales. Is it ridiculous that they don't give any cut? I mean, their names are being used on the back of jerseys, and they don't get any revenue share from that. Is
Yeah, it's
just
crazy.
makes no sense whatsoever. So, I mean, even college players get that now.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Well, I think, it's not looking great, unfortunately, for the WNBA negotiations, but maybe somebody can pull a rabbit out of the hat and come up with something before January 9th. But
Yeah, and
it
it'll probably have to
seems,
be short term, I would imagine. Like I heard one suggestion the WNBA was trying to do an 8-year contract, and
mm,
they should not do that with the growth that's happening
no,
now.
no, that would be bad for the players. So, all right. Well, college basketball, at least we have that for now.
Yeah.
And, UConn has been fun to watch. Looking forward to more games. And I think they have a game tomorrow. Um, and then you said next weekend they play USC. So
Hmm.
December should be some good games. And
Hmm.
yeah, looking forward to talking more about that in our next few episodes. For the W Hoops podcast today, everyone, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or a review. And we'll see you next week.